an ambush.
Oh my God, it's an ambush!
It's an ambush!
Of course!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an ambush stream. I made a stinger just for an ambush stream. I got a stinger or an opener for an ambush stream, I should say. What do you think? Is it cool? You like it? You hate it? I don't know. I thought ambush streams needed something of its own, so there you are. I hope everybody's doing well on this beautiful Friday evening. Yes, it is an ambush stream, unplanned, unscheduled, up until the point where I planned it and scheduled it, I suppose. It's been this week has been a very busy week, and this day in particular has been a very trying day for several reasons. I had to think about it earlier today. I was like, wow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was on a stream every day. And this isn't a complaint, it's just a fact. And it's just like when you have the anticipation and you know you're scheduled for something, you know, it becomes part of your, you know, thinking for the day and the day before that and everything else. And so Tuesday I was on Midnight's Edge After Dark. Wednesday I was on Pop Culture Breakdown with Doomcock and all those guys. Thursday, yesterday, I had my TED Excellence, my early TED Excellence, and then the debate stream. And then it's like, well, why would you want to stream again on Friday? Like, I spent all day doing month-end billing, spreadsheets stuff, plus other work things. I won't get into any more details than are necessary, but my father's health has not improved, let's just say, over the last couple of weeks. It seems to be the case that every time my sister and I go up to visit my folks, within 72 hours, something happens, and my father ends up back in the hospital, which is very frustrating. And yeah, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. There's a lot going on, a lot on my mind, and I just wanted to have some catharsis, have something where I could just not sit in a room alone with nothing but my thoughts and do something else for a while. So I apologize, but I'm taking advantage of the avenue that I have here through live streaming for my own mental health, not necessarily yours, as the stream may prove out to be, depending on how you decide to look at it. Either way, I appreciate everybody taking the time out to hang out with me, because that's a little bit what I needed right now. Holy cats, Derek LaRue. Thank you, Derek, so much, as always, for your support and generosity. Really do appreciate it. Hope you're having a good evening, and hope that you are well, all things considered. Oh, I'm trying to type a message here. Somebody earlier asked, am I drunk? I'm not drunk. I did imbibe earlier today, afternoon-wise, but I am not currently inebriated. I'm as sober as a churchman, as I think as they used to say. Either way, before I get into whatever it is that I have planned for tonight, who's here joining me on this Friday night? Noah Asensio. Good evening, Dr. Functional. Good evening, Keeverdam. Good evening, and thank you, Keeverdam, as always, for providing the links to our friends' GoFundMes and other fundraisers at the top of the chat box for our friends Moonshock, Natalie, Angela Arriaga, Rhonda, and Ashley. Please take a look at those if you would. If you can donate, please do so. If you can't, that's fine. But if you can, share those out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you for that ahead of time, and thank you, Keeverdam. And maybe I should drink my wine tonight, too. Well, wine and cheese. You have any cheese? I'm told that you can fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese. It's an old rule of the world. Plague Trucker Zax. No, Zax wasn't Zax one of the Hulk's villains? He was just like a kind of like an electrical being, sort of like Electro, but not really like Electro. He was just like living energy or something. I don't know. Oh, and Dr. Functional, you were going to throw on the 13th Warrior, but if Scribbles is going to entertain, well, I guess the beauty shall be in the eye of thou beholder as to whether or not this is entertaining. As compared to the 13th Warrior, I mean, you know, when you have Antonio Banderas and a bunch of Vikings fighting crazy Cthulhu cultists in the woods and the mountains, I can't really beat that. I really can't beat that. But you know, 13th Warrior, it'll be there for you whenever you need it. This is the way of the 13th Warrior. Skin Lab, good evening. Ex Bubba Hotep, good evening to you. Asan, good evening. Somnamnul Nation, good evening. Cynic, Good evening. Kiro Soldier, good evening to you. Who else is here? Super Mutant 2099. Good evening. Draco Draco Rincewind. I say Wincewind? Wincewind. Draco Rincewind. Good evening. Miranda Stone. Good evening. Queen of the Discords. Corey Suzuki. Good evening. Anybody else here? Zero the Hero 909. Good evening. Spittlebuggies. Good evening. Vader 35. Good evening to you. Who else is here? Anybody else before I move on? Tandamar. Tandamar sounds like a foreign land somewhere in like a fantasy novel. Like, we must make a quest to Tandamar, or the kingdom of Tandamar. That's what comes to my mind. Little Mo Zizlak. Good evening. Unfair Ophelia. Good evening. And I think, is that everybody? I think that's everybody that I see. Oh, no, keep going. Robert Pincus. Good evening. And I think that's everybody. Although I did see on Twitter that Simon Willikins let me know that he will be listening while he's working on other things. So Simon Willikins, if you're listening, good evening. All right. So did I have a plan? A little bit. I mean, I got a couple of things. I might have an article or a couple of videos and things that I've pulled out just for entertainment purposes. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about beforehand? Well, I don't know. Hey, I'll make it a brief ask me anything. Tell you what, spontaneous. I might regret this later. Ask me anything. I'll promise you an answer. It might not be the one you want, but I'll do my best. So if you got any questions, just throw them in the chat now. Dina B, good evening. Retardigrade, good evening. Let's see. So Mammy says, I thought it was T and Amar. It could be. Miranda Stone gasps. Yes, I say. Ask me anything, you say. Out of nowhere, you say? Whatever shall we do? Also, for those of you that joined late, I really do want to just show this off again, because I did put some time into making it. So this is now the opening for any particular ambush stream that I happen to do.
It's an ambush.
Oh my God, it's an ambush!
It's an ambush!
Of course!
I just got to show that off. I put time into that, dang it. I got inspired and I put something together out of whole cloth. Well, maybe not whole cloth. I mean, I got elements from other places and things, but I had to do like the whole green screen thing for the explosion and find the sound effect and all the other little ambush clips and things. I put effort into it. I put effort into it. Osan says, which family is best and why is it Malkavians? Giovanni. And it's not family, it's clan, unless it's Giovanni, because then it's family. Yeah, Giovanni, I think, is the overall best vampire clan just because of its history, the complexity, its structure, and the inherent evil behind the family. I think is probably the best. I mean, it's just when you look at like how they came to be and the epic nature of their journey to become a vampire clan and everything, it's one of the richest tapestries in all of Vampire the Masquerade as far as that goes, and so many stories can be built off of that foundation. I like other clans and their histories and things a bit. I like the Setites. I like the La Sombra. I was always partial to the Ventru in different ways, but really the Giovanni, man, they're just my favorite. They're just my favorite. Corey Suzuki with another similar role-playing game type thing. If you were a D&D character, what would your race, class, and stats be? Well, if I was, oh boy. I mean, I like to imagine myself far more heroic than I actually am. But I'd be a human. I'm not anything special in that regard. As far as class, boy, oh boy. I mean, I suppose if I take my YouTube practice, I'd be a bard. As far as my stats, I don't know. I'd roll a bunch of D20s and see what I come up with and put my highest into charisma, I suppose, which would be completely opposite to real life. But, you know, it's a fantasy role-playing game. That's my first thought. Of course, I'm not much of a D&D freak, so there's probably some other things that I could say if I were more well-versed in D&D. Expo Hoda, did you see any of the Trump-Biden debate? Any of it? Boy, howdy, did I see all of it last night on Sinatra Says' channel, The Silent Sin. We did a live commentary track because we couldn't play the actual feed of the video because CNN would have zapped the Sinatra's channel. So we had a watch together link that you can click on while you're listening to the stream that should have it in tandem. It's so silly. Presidential debates should be public domain. It just should be. Of all the things, a presidential debate should be public domain. It shouldn't be something that you get zapped for, or they get to copyright or whatever else. It's so much of the public interest that it should supersede CNN's copyright paranoias, in my opinion. That's all I got to say about that. Let's see what else we got here. Scribelight, Spittlebuggy's question: are the moon landing real? Are our children's learning? Yes, the moon landing was real. All of them, all the moon landings. I'm not sure about China's. I mean, they tell us that they landed on the dark side of the moon, but, we can't really see it, so I guess it's a trust me story, I suppose. Keeverdam, Scarlet, which Disney princess would make the best spy? That is not a question I had expected. Which Disney princess would make the best spy? Well, Princess Leia, obviously. She's just a senator. She doesn't work for the Rebel Alliance. Right? She's a diplomat from Alderaan. She doesn't take part in some rebellion. She's part of the Galactic Senate. She would be fighting against the Empire. She's part of the Empire. That was easy. Let's see. Miranda Stone, if you could choose any other profession to instantly be in right now, what would it be? I mean, I've always wanted to be an author. I just can't. I can never get I'm so self-defeatist about these things. Any idea I come up with for a story or a script, let's say, for a movie or a TV show or something, I just get inundated in my own mind with, this has been done before. This is so rehashed. This is nothing new. You can't do this. So if I could just dismiss and dispel all of my inhibitions and as far as that goes, and all my self-doubts and all that stuff, and just hunker down and just focus and write something and get a book out of it just once. I don't know if that would make it a career. That'd probably be sort of a glorified hobby, but yeah, if I could snap my fingers and change my entire psychology, certainly. Miranda Stone again, would you prefer to be the ripple or the water? I mean, how big a rock are we talking about? I guess the better thing would I rather be the water or the stone? Miranda Stone. No, I guess I'm better at being the ripple, if that makes any sense. Maybe? I don't know. Little Mo Sislak, why is my finger itchy? Stop scratching it. Miranda Stone, could you wing it as a plumber? Only in the most basic needs, like the bargain basement needs of plumbing, but wing it otherwise, basic repairs to the underside of a sink or things regarding toilets a little bit. I've learned a little bit here and there, but if your water heater starts leaking, you're sunk. Let's see. And Keeverdam provides a link to the stream. I'm assuming that's the link to the Sinatra stream. I have so many questions. I know you do. You're an inquisitive cat. That's what you are. Let's see. Anything else? What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? I think that means I fly up in the air and die now or something, if I can't answer that. Or something, right? Tim. The answer is Tim, I suppose. Kira Soldier, would you be willing to do a movie review of The 13th Warrior? Would I be willing to? Yes. Could I or would I? I don't know that I have I'm not sure I have a copy of The 13th Warrior. I have to check. Or if I can find it somewhere. I mean, I can give you a review right now. It is absolutely ridiculous, historically inaccurate up the wazoo, but totally badass. You don't know what else to say. You know, it's yeah, it just the geography of it alone, man. That opening 5 minutes is just a bum rush of exposition to get us into the story. It really feels like that movie deserved an extra half hour or something to set up everything, because that opening few minutes goes by so quick. And I've never read the book. Michael Crichton's Eaters of the Dead, I think it's called, if I'm not mistaken. But the movie, yeah, the movie's a riot. Let's see, Super Mutant 299. I heard there's a rumor. I heard a rumor there was a run on alcohol in blue states last night after the debate, but it turned out to be a rumor. I wouldn't not believe it. I guess I should say. We'll get to the debate in a moment. I have a story about that. No one else has your perspective until they steal my eyes. Well, that sounded kind of dark, didn't it? Anyway, Angela Ariaga, good evening to you. And Angela, I hear that you were in the corner earlier tonight with Frosted Glass. Was that your first sort of like interview-ish appearance, or what did you guys do? What did you guys do? Was that, or is it? Oh, I know it was the first time on the corner. I think you've done plenty of streams before. I think with the zookeepers and such. But SWD40, good evening. Anybody else here, ladies? Simon Wilkins, I'm listening, but I thought you wouldn't be starting for a couple hours. Oh, so my estimation for what game I'd be listening to is up. Oh, I apologize. Well, again, the pitfalls of an ambush stream, I suppose. Austin says, I think the 13th Warrior is on Amazon. I could believe it. I could believe it. The Demon Man 57, good evening. Let's see. And I think I'll take this as the last one. If you could get an animated version of your avatar, would you use it? And would that make you a VTuber? Oh, man. You mean like one that would like interact with my bodily movements and that kind of thing? Or just like an animated clip to use in the well, I mean, either way. I suppose if I was using it as a live representation of myself, I guess that would make me a VTuber at that point. But just like an animated clip or something. I think I'd be able to avoid it that way. The Messianic Militant. Good evening. Timothy Seelbeck. Good evening. Long time no see, Timothy. Hope you're well. And let's see. And yes, it was indeed my first time in the corner. Well, congratulations. Let's see. So, yeah, the debate. Oh, the debate. Oh man, do you think there's anything I can add that hasn't already been said about the debate last night? I mean, I couldn't stop thinking about it after the stream last night because there's so many things going through my mind. Just like, it was not a surprise. This is the thing, but it was still shocking. It was not a surprise, was still shocking. Anybody who had convinced themselves that Biden was some kind of behind closed doors, energetic, sharp as a tack genius or something, was doing one or both of two things, either lying to everybody and or lying to themselves. Because why it only happens behind closed doors. He's only a genius when nobody else can see it. It was so ridiculous, a line that had been sold to us by his inner circle, the Democratic lead politicians, and the media for so long. And it was as plain as the sun is on a sunny day that he was in bad shape this entire time. We have plenty of clips, plenty of footage. They tried to dismiss it as cheap fakes last week or whatever. But then everybody had to see it. It eventually had to happen. He had to be in a situation where there was no teleprompter, there was no handlers. He was there on his own. He had to be able to stand up on his own 2 feet and be a president. And it's just, there was a moment, and we talked about it a little bit last night on the stream, but I don't think we got as specific. There was a moment where, there were several moments where Trump could have been mean. And what I mean by mean is he could have really latched on to Biden's obvious disorganization and really been a schoolyard bully. But he didn't. I mean, save for like one comment where he said something like, I don't understand what he just said, and I'm not sure he understands it either. That was about it. Everything else was some direct sniping back and forth on policy or, tit for tat kind of thing. But aside from that and bringing up the cognitive test thing, Trump could have been so much more mean than he was. But you could just see that this is a tragic and pathetic situation. Whatever you think about Biden as a person and his past acts and his behavior as president and everything else, what we saw last night was an elderly man who is not in retention of his full faculties. And there's a certain modicum of reflexive humanity that takes place in a situation like that, even with someone that you may not agree with, even with someone you might even despise. That is unavoidable. And even Trump couldn't avoid it. And for everything else I could say about Trump's performance last night, and there's not much else I could say because it was pretty standard Trump, but also ridiculously childish and off point and all over the place. He didn't go for the easy, even more childish and bullyish avenues that he could have. So I guess that says something about Trump, but at the same time, it's like, what did Trump need to point out that wasn't self-evident in Biden's performance? But there has been, if you can believe it, some backlash, some consequences of last night's debate. And I will showcase at least one of them now. 1 second here while I bring this up. No, not that, but this. Come on, StreamYard. Tell me you're still working. Okay, good. Foreign diplomats react with horror to Biden's dismal debate performance. Debate performance is even sort of a dodge, isn't it? His debate performance, here's the thing. That's how he functions away from the debate stage as well. This is not just about the debate. That man is and has been the commander-in-chief of this country, operating at that level this entire time. His debate performance is just the delivery mechanism for the reality and realization of so many people about exactly what is going on at the top of the chain. Biden is not running this country. The president of the United States is not the one running this country. He is incapable of doing so. He wasn't capable of spending 90 minutes at a podium talking politics and policy, what he has been doing for his entire adult life. He is not running this country, and yeah. But anyway, I digress. President Joe Biden's dismal showing at the CNN presidential debate against former President Donald Trump resonated around the world, with foreign diplomats expressing shock. Really? Shock? I mean, I realize that people in other countries aren't paying as close attention to American politics as maybe Americans are, but really, this is shocking? And concern while raising questions about the implications for a consequential U.S. election that could upend the foreign policy status quo should Trump be elected again. Well, the foreign policy status quo is always at risk of being upended at every election because that's what happens with elections. So that's really nothing new. Quote, hard to watch, unquote, is how multiple foreign diplomats described Thursday night's debate between Biden and Trump to CNN. The overwhelming sentiment among more than half a dozen diplomats from Europe, the Middle East, and Asia whom CNN spoke to was that it was, quote, a bad night for Biden, unquote, as one European diplomat put it. Really stretching out there, aren't they? Quote, it is a sad reality that Biden is old and he is getting older. We saw it. I had difficulties understanding what he was saying, and I understand English pretty well, unquote, said a second European diplomat. Quote, Trump ate him alive, unquote, said an Arab diplomat. Trump didn't have anything to fight against. Trump was going to win that even if he did nothing but sing show tunes the entire time. But otherwise, quote, I was shell-shocked. I could not believe my eyes, an Asian diplomat said of Biden's performance. Biden's debate flop was front-page news across Europe, with left and right-leaning newspapers excoriating the president, even in France. where the country has its own elections coming up this weekend. The president's debate performance. It's not the president's obvious cognitive decline. That's every time that I read debate performance, in your mind, transpose that with obvious cognitive decline. CNN, even in reporting the fact that everybody and their brother is shocked by this, even CNN is still trying to spin this, still trying to insulate the reality. The president's debate performance also compounded already pronounced concerns about the policies Trump would likely enact if he wins in November. His debate compounded? What? Another dodge. Trump on Thursday once again displayed his isolationist tendencies and his NATO skeptic worldview that often alarmed U.S. allies during his first presidential term. Yeah, but here's one thing that Trump said that was true last night. He said, when he just said he's thinking about having the U.S. pull out of NATO if the other countries didn't pay their fair share, or he wasn't, maybe he wouldn't come to their defense if they didn't pay their fair share into the overall defense of NATO, right? And that non-binding, but still in the documentation of NATO deal is that each member country has to dedicate 2% of their overall GDP, I think it is, to defense. Just 2%, which could be a lot of money, but they have to put in at least 2%. And what happened as soon as Trump was just sort of musing, well, if you're not paying your fair share, maybe I won't. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of countries that hadn't been doing much suddenly started investing. So, he threatened the free ride, so to speak, of the deal, and people started paying their dues. It's true. I mean, it might have been some kind of like reverse scare psychology, but the NATO states are now, at least functionally speaking, militarily safer than they were before Trump threatened to pull the rug out. So, let's see. At the debate, Trump questioned continuing to fund Ukraine's war against Russia and falsely claimed that the U.S. had given more in aid to Ukraine than all other European countries put together. I guess I'm trying to remember. A lot of things were said last night, most of it incoherent. Trump even suggested that he had spoken to Russian President Vladimir Putin about his dream of invading Ukraine. He also attacked Biden over the Afghanistan withdrawal and argued it was the reason Putin invaded Ukraine in 2022. I've heard that theory before from other people. So, and is the Afghanistan withdrawal not something worthy of criticism? Quote, when Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it. His dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never, unquote, Trump said. Yeah, well, it's Trump. I don't know what he's saying half the time, and I don't necessarily believe half the things he says. Biden showing Thursday did not make the diplomat CNN spoke to question his ability to serve as commander-in-chief at this moment. It certainly should have. Why didn't it? What more would you need to question the president's capacity to fulfill his duties than that quote-unquote performance? Did not make the diplomats CNN spoke to question his ability to serve as commander-in-chief at this moment, with many noting that he has a good team working with him. If that is how the president operates when he doesn't have a teleprompter, he is not the one running this country. His good team is running the country, and they were not elected president. That's not an assurance from these diplomats. But it led some to question how the Democratic Party will handle the issue. Well, so many people have tied their careers, their status, their paychecks to Biden's presence in the White House, that unless he alone elects to drop out, it's not going to happen because he's surrounded with sycophants and dependents. And unless the Democratic Party is willing to effectively concede the election before it happens, which is going to happen either way. I mean, seriously, if they get to the convention and they actively rebel and vote Biden out and nominate someone else, the Democratic Party is obviously in shambles and they won't have the support one way or the other to succeed. They'll be all over the place. Unless the unifying message somehow is anyone but Trump again. That's about it. They're effectively going to have to concede the next election no matter what they do at this point, really. But anyway, Polish Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski wrote on social media that Biden should now responsibly manage a succession plan. Well, we have a succession plan. It's called the Vice President Takes Over, 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment is the succession plan. Quote, Marcus Aurelius was a great emperor, but he screwed up his succession by passing the baton to his feckless son Commodus, he from the Gladiator. Yes, thank you, CNN. I needed a pop culture reference. Anyway, whose disastrous role started Rome's decline? Okay, CNN, if you're going to insert a parenthetical, unless you're quoting him exactly, in which case you'd have to put a brackets with a SIC in there to note that this is his grammatical error and you're repeating it verbatim. That should be a comma. That should be a comma. That should be a lowercase w. Anyway, now that I'm editing CNN's own copy for them after the fact, whose disastrous role started Rome's decline? It's important to manage one's ride into the sunset, unquote, he wrote. We have the 25th Amendment. That's about it. But somebody has to make that happen. And even after last night, do you think the Democrats are going to effectively concede that Biden is incapable of performing his duties in the office? Another Polish diplomat didn't mince their words. Why not give us their name then? Calling Biden's performance, quote, a horror, what a car crash, unquote. Post-debate, it wasn't just Democrats raising the prospect of replacing Biden on the ticket for November. Foreign diplomats, you already kind of... Okay, anyway, foreign diplomats were also wondering whether Democrats could turn to a plan B. Quote, if they can change the horse, they should, said the second European diplomat. Why not name they are public officials. Why are they not going on the record? Second European diplomat. Good gravy. Quote, if it was possible to call the governor of California and have Biden say, you go and I'll step out, that would be the right thing to do. Oh, man, tell you what. Have Gavin Newsom be the nominee. That will be hilarious. You want to take Gavin Newsom and how he presided over California during the pandemic. Just that alone. Please. That would be entertaining as all hell. Put Gavin Newsom up, really. And just watch. Just watch. But like many Americans, the diplomats woke up Friday unsure of what could be done. Quote, there are many options that are discussed, but we don't see any that are self-evident. The first European diplomat, the second European diplomat, thing one and thing two. Some of them are reaching out to U.S. contacts to get a sense of the likelihood of Democrats moving on from Biden. Quote, some U.S. contacts say there was always simmering debate about replacing Biden, but they say that now the doubts are in the open. There is fire on the roof, unquote, said a third European diplomat. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third. Quote, I am told that if the Democrats do this, they have to go with Kamala Harris because they cannot skip over a black woman vice president, but they wonder what that will do to their base. They think they could still lose, unquote. Yes. Even when she would effectively be fulfilling the duties of her office, Kamala Harris is a problem for the Democrats. Even when she'd be doing effectively what she was elected to help do, she'd still be a problem for the Democrats. Oh, man. And that just tells you how much confidence they have in Kamala Harris. Zippo. The diplomats were not surprised by Trump's comments on foreign policy during the debate, with one calling it the, quote, same recipe as usual, unquote. Oh, so it was Trump being Trump, you say? But they added that they felt even more concerned about his lack of commitment to Ukraine and what that might mean for European security. Quote, Trump certainly won this. It wasn't much of a contest, truth be told. You could have put a ham sandwich up next to Joe Biden, and the ham sandwich would have won. His worldview is problematic. Well, it might be a worldview that people are willing to vote for. So for those who believe in a rules-based order, Trump isn't good, unquote, said a NATO official. Quote, rules mean predictability, so Trump means unpredictability. He could go soft on Russia. He has a penchant for getting on with strongmen. He has a penchant for getting on with strongmen. Okay, the NATO official said. Okay, hey, NATO official, how many... Okay, there is a pragmatic reality to geopolitics. You are going to have to work with and occasionally shake hands with people whose values and government are antithetical to your own because it is necessary. If you're going to say he has a penchant for getting on with strongmen, hey, Biden likes touting his relationship with Xi Jinping quite often, honestly. Biden's met with Putin, getting on with strongmen. How many Saudi royals has Biden entertained during his presidency and before as vice president? Just stop. He could also double down in supporting Zelensky. Well, he could. He could go either way. I mean, there is, for everything else that Trump might be, there is some advantage in unpredictability. Keeps people on their toes. Keeps people with their options open in case somebody decides to go a different way. If Trump is temperamental, maybe you don't want to tick him off with the power he wields. That might be in the minds of some people. That was effectively Trump's argument last night for a lot of things that have happened under Biden, whether it be Ukraine or other things, is that, if I was in office, that wouldn't have happened. And obviously Trump can't see into alternate dimensions, but when Biden's telegraphing to the world what he's going to do before he does it, when he tells people it's like, oh yeah, Trump's policies on the border are terrible and we won't criminalize you and so on and so forth. And then you see the results of that. The problem is there is no strategy. It all feels like it's done on impulse, unquote. That is kind of Trump's thing, whether you like it or not. That may or may not be a strength given the circumstances. Other diplomats also observed that Trump's comments on the ongoing Israel-Hamas war would likely hurt him among Arab American voters. Okay. Does Trump care about Arab American voters? As far as just like a percentile block of the electorate? Quote, when he called Biden a Palestinian, that was bad. It was an insult to the Palestinians. He lost Arab voters, the Arab diplomat said. Quote, he could have said that he is the bigger Israel supporter in multiple other ways, unquote. Oh, you mean like moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem? I mean, okay, anyway, whatever. Still, despite Trump's reinforcing of longstanding issues, there was a real sense of shock and concern about Biden's performance and what it might mean for his chances in November. Yeah, you spent a lot of time talking about Trump here. When Trump is a known quantity, apparently Biden's cognitive abilities are a big surprise to the entire rest of the world all of a sudden. But you decide to take half your article to talk about Trump, because of course. Let's see. The diplomatic reaction was echoed by the British media in unusual unanimity. The usually staid Financial Times declared, quote, Democrats panic, with the irrepressible tabloids, famous for their stinging critiques, joining the chorus. Quote, Jomatoast. That's good. Jomatoast, declared The Sun, Britain's most popular tabloid. Another outlet, the left-wing Guardian, piled on, stating Biden bombed. That's not nearly as creative as Jomatoast. I like Jomatoast. Biden's stumbles on the Atlanta debate stage, touched a nerve across the continent. Europe woke up to radio stations playing his, at times halting, seemingly confused comments. Seemingly confused. CNN. Come on. I will give CNN credit for a couple of things last night. First and foremost, the moderators on the debate, absolutely perfect. They did everything that they could to keep the candidates on task, go back to questions they didn't actually answer. I got to credit CNN. They did everything they were supposed to do last night. I didn't feel like they were playing favorites or anything else. And they kept to task. And they didn't put in any commentary or anything. They just stuck to it. So good on CNN for that. Also, kudos to CNN. The post-mortem they did on the debate, everybody on that panel, they did not try to spin what they saw. They were very honest. From Van Jones all the way down the line, everybody was just, this is bad. I'm getting tweets from everybody and this is bad. And I can't say it isn't. So, like I say, credit to them. CNN did CNN did what they should do on a regular basis last night. Too bad it's so rare and it takes something that dramatic to make it happen. No nation was immune to concerns about Biden's performance, even in France, which is facing its own surprise elections this weekend, where President Emmanuel Macron's alliance confronts a far-right challenge. Newspapers took time out to lament the frailties of the man who visited the country only a few weeks ago. Yeah. And how is he looking then? The ubiquitous left-leaning Le Monde declared, quote, an old, worn-out, absent Biden, how the debate against Trump turned into a disaster. Turned into. That must be a European thing about not putting those words together. Indeed, waves of worry seem to ripple around the Mediterranean. Ooh, ripples. Miranda Stone, did you have a psychic moment there? Questions were raised about Biden stepping aside from Greece's To Vima headline. I guess that's a publication. Quote, Biden's time to exit the race, unquote, to Italy's Anza and La Repubblica, suggesting the Democrats are, quote, looking for an alternative, unquote. But where much of Europe's media seemed shocked, Russia's was positively gleeful. Moscow's state TV station Russia One lampooned Biden's debate performance. The show host, Olga Skabiva, laughingly congratulated him for not falling over, then criticized him for what she called a 20-second freeze, saying he had trouble remembering who and where he was. Well, Olga Skabiva was basically Sinatra and I last night. In that sense. Putin's spokesman said the Russian leader didn't stay up late to watch the debate, and, quote, it is not on the list of the main issues on the agenda of Putin, unquote. However, it seems reasonable to surmise he'll be up to speed with it now, if only through the unfriendly filter of his own media. Okay, his own media has no heavy lifting to do. They could do nothing. They could just play clips from the debate, unedited, unaltered, and there's nothing to spin here. Even the spin masters at CNN refuse to spin this. This is a absolute unmitigated train wreck for Biden and his campaign and the Democratic Party. It is evident, self-evident. We know these truths to be self-evident. Thank you, Plague Trucker Zach. Just sending good vibes for your dad, except salty I didn't get to see you and Sin last night. Well, thank you so much for the well wishes for my father. And yeah, last night, it was something. It was something. It was, like I said, it was also awkward because you couldn't actually watch the footage while we were talking. You had to do this, relay race thing. It's so silly, but I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, as much fun as I could watching the leader of the free world be an absolute useless zombie on the world stage. But like I say, I knew it was coming. I was still shocked by the extent of it, I suppose. Behind closed doors, no doubt, Europe's leaders will be reflecting less on the froth and flailing of Biden's performance and more on the substance of what they heard. There was no, look, if there's one thing I can say about Biden's performance last night, for all the words that he spoke, there was nothing there that could be described as substantive. I had to get that in there somehow. It's like a bet I have with myself. I got to find a reasonable and logical way to work that word into something, just for that. But I did also hang out with Sinatra last night. Did the sound cut out on that for you like it did for me? Felt like the sound cut out on that. I don't know. Something goofy happened when I played that clip. Maybe it's because I never played it before or something. There's no buffer for it. It played through. Okay, as long as it played through. For me, it froze or something. I didn't know what was going on, but I couldn't stop it. So anyway, hopefully that was kind of cool. I don't know. I don't know if I've played it before. Let's see. Behind closed doors, no doubt, Europe's leaders will be reflecting less on the froth and flailing of Biden's performance and more on the substance of what they heard. After all, many of them met Biden at the G7 summit in Italy a fortnight ago, so his frailty was likely not a surprise. Yes, thank you, CNN, for burying that revelation to the bottom of the article. this was no surprise. You know what? It was no surprise that to anybody that's been watching him operate in public over the last 3 years. You knew it, CNN. You've known it the whole time. We've been telling you on Twitter and elsewise forever. I don't want those ads playing on the side. I feel like I'm going to get zapped or something. A Trump redo is the last thing most European leaders want. I don't care what European leaders want. I care about what the American electorate wants. With the world far more dangerous than when he last left office. Oh, for crying out loud. For crying out loud. The world's always dangerous. Alan Thyler, thank you so much for the good job, Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wow. Wow.
Speaking of Sinatra Says, there's a Sinatra Says Dogcat Fox. Thank you so much, Alan. And thank you again, Plague Trucker Zach. Well, extend your pinky. You got to hang out with Sin last night. But did you send him a God of War PS5? I don't think so, Mike Drop. Did you send Sinatra a God of War PS5? I mean, this might be Sinatra lore I'm just not aware of. I don't keep up with all of the goings on with Sinatra. I mean, if you send him a God of War, that'd be something. Or is that a reference to something else? I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I am out of the loop between my full-time job and everything else. I don't know what's going on. But you know who does know what's going on? Well, boy, howdy, I'll tell you. As soon as I hit the right button here, the right button, not the wrong button, it'd be Forbes. Hey, you remember Forbes? Don't you? Forbes? That magazine, that financial magazine or thing of stuff and thing? Yeah. So I was just rewatching a stream I did a couple of weeks back, as I am sometimes want to do, or as sometimes YouTube will just start automatically playing because it thinks that's what I want to listen to, my own voice. But yeah, I was talking about the Fearless Fund a couple of weeks ago, and we were watching a clip from another Forbes broadcast. And then in the middle of that broadcast, they mentioned, oh, well, we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at the Forbes BLK Summit or BLK Leaders Summit or something, which was going to feature Stacey Abrams talking about business leaders from the African American community or whatever it is, whatever the appropriate term is now, the people of color contingent. I don't know. But as soon as I heard that yesterday, I was like, did that already happen? Has there already been any video clips of that out yet? Oh boy, I better look it up. And lo and behold, it happened just a couple of days ago, and there already are a couple of clips from it. So I thought we watch one. Just, why not? Keeverdam asks a poignant question. Did Scribe just say adsplain? Did I say adsplain? Maybe I did. I'm a little tired. I might be going through some cognitive decline at this hour of the night when I'm usually trying to get to sleep. I still have to get up early tomorrow to finish up month-end billing because today's stuff still counts for the month of June. And so I have to finish up all the invoices tomorrow morning. But I'm up this late because, either way. So how about we listen to a little bit of Forbes? A little bit of Forbes starring a celebrity. Can you guess which celebrity it is?
Hello and welcome. I'm Sarah Mueller.
Well, okay, I'll confess, and no offense to Sarah Mueller, the celebrity is not Sarah Mueller, but she's there too.
A reporter with Forbes, and today I'm joined by Stacey Abrams at the Forbes BLK Summit. We're so excited to have you, Stacey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
I'm very excited too. I am super excited. I cannot wait to hear how the twice failed gubernatorial candidate, Stacey Abrams, I can't wait to hear what she has to say at the BLK Summit. And also, and guys, the election was totally stolen from her, just so you know. Even though that kind of declaration is apparently verboten now, and she totally never did that herself. The most recent chuckle I can recall regarding Stacey Abrams was when Biden was still in the process of selecting his vice presidential candidate. I know this is several years ago now, but it feels just like yesterday. He was in the process of still selecting his vice presidential candidate or running mate. And he was on some kind of split screen interview with Stacey Abrams. And there was some there was some anticipation that maybe he was going to announce then that Stacey Abrams was going to be his running mate or something. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was the suspicion, that this was going to be a moment where he might make a declaration or something, make an announcement. And then in short order, it became very clear that he would not be selecting her. And you just saw her face turn into the kind of thing where somebody's just bitten into a lemon. And so I like to think that that's what happened, that she was there with some kind of anticipation that she was going to become the vice presidential candidate. And then right then on that broadcast found out no. But anyway, so what does Stacey Abrams have to tell us?
House Republicans have been defunding DEI efforts.
Oh, they have been? Oh, no.
What needs to be done to rectify this?
What needs to be done to rectify the defunding of DEI? Well, here's the thing. I guess it depends on what you mean. They've been pushing to have state-associated organizations like universities and schools and places like that. But DEI defunding has been happening regardless of Republican influence since before and certainly after the affirmative action decision of last spring. So it's not really a political issue in a lot of cases. It's more a financial one and a legal liability one. But okay, sure. What can turn the tide on this?
We know that DEI refers to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
You're right. It does.
And what we are watching happen by reactionary and politically motivated actors is that
you mean like the Supreme Court of the United States, in there effectively declaring the diversity argument as unconstitutional in discriminating against people. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yes. Okay.
motivated actors is that they're trying to restore and resurrect barriers to the American dream.
Oh, they're trying to restore barriers to the American dream. Okay. And what were those barriers? Were those barriers made up of things like, oh, I don't know, denying opportunities to people on the basis of their skin color? It wouldn't be barriers like that, would it? I just asking.
Every time they
Oh, good night, Angela Arriaga. Good night to you. Get good sleep. Hope you have a good day tomorrow. Thank you for stopping by. Now that you're famous from being on the corner.
every time they attack diversity, they're telling someone they don't belong.
No, diversity tells plenty of people that they don't belong. You've got it absolutely backwards. You have jumped through the looking glass, as it were.
Every time they attack equity, they're saying you don't deserve to participate in our economy.
No, every time they attack equity, they attack equality of outcome at the expense of merit. Okay, and what are they doing when they attack inclusion, which is about exclusion? See, here's the thing. Diversity sets the standard for everything that comes after it, right? Diversity means anything other than straight, white, or male. You cannot be all three of those things and qualify for whatever elements follow diversity. Okay, you can be a male, right, and white, but if you're not straight, you still have a chance. You can be straight and white, but not a male, and still have a chance, right? You can be straight, but not male or white, and have a chance. It just goes on and on and on like that. But the three things you cannot be is a straight white male. That's what diversity says. That sets that's the filter. Diversity is simply the filter for who moves on to the next step. Equity is equality of outcome. That means it's not about merit. It's about making sure that everybody goes home with a participation badge. Nobody fails. Nobody's meant to feel lesser, and so on and so forth, even if their skills, experience, and abilities are demonstrably lesser than someone else's. You can't have any winners and losers. Everybody's got to be just this static plane of existence. And then inclusion just means putting the people that you want seen in the places that you want them to be seen in, using that first filter as the rule. That's all that is. It's a pipeline. DEI is a pipeline of discrimination and exclusion and ruining people on the basis of merit and just propping them up on the basis of appearance. That's all it is. That's all it is. Which is a lot, but that's all it is.
In our elections, in our education, and when they attack inclusion, they are saying that you're not worthy of being a part of this larger American narrative.
No. DEI does that by itself. Either you have absolutely no idea what DEI does, or you do and you are being deceptive. Either one. And whichever way it goes, not a good look.
We know that DEI is what has made this country stronger.
No, it has not. You just said a minute ago that you are against the resurrection of the barriers of the past that prevented people from taking part in the American dream. What were those barriers? Name them.
It has been both a protective action and a corrective action.
No, it has not been. What was the Civil Rights Act meant to do? What does Title VII say? And put that up against the tenets of DEI.
And we should be defending DEI, standing up and celebrating how much progress we've made as a country over the last 248 years.
DEI is not progress. DEI is, well, I guess I should say DEI. I'm suddenly having a Biden moment. Pardon me for a second. Regression. That's what I wanted to say. DEI is a regression. It is late for me. I'm usually going to bed 2 hours ago by now, 2.5 hours ago. I'm just old now, I guess. Is 45 old? I guess 45 is. If you're younger than me, then I guess it is.
What do you think the Dems need to do, though, to help combat these efforts by the GOP?
It's not just it's more than just the GOP. It really is.
Well, we need to understand that this isn't a partisan issue.
Well, it certainly seems to be, right? The way you framed it. But okay, yes, you're right. It's not a partisan issue. What is it?
This is a people issue.
Yeah.
Do you believe that diversity is all people?
You mean the dictionary definition? Sure. We're not talking about the dictionary definition here, though, are we? We're talking about DEI, which is its own thing. You know, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is obviously all of those things because those are the words that are used to describe it. But that's not the function of the thing that is being described, is it?
Do you believe that we should have fair opportunity?
Equal opportunity? Yes.
Which is equity. Do you
No, equity is not equal opportunity. Equity is equality of outcome. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about, do you?
believe that everyone should have a pathway to the American dream?
Should have a pathway? I mean, most people have to make their own pathway, right? With as few obstructions as possible, certainly on the basis of anything that is non-determinative of their character or work ethic. Tell me again what DEI does.
If you do, your party doesn't matter. Your sense of progress does.
My gosh, she's all in, isn't she?
And part of our responsibility is to stand up to anyone who would tell us that we don't all deserve full participation in the American dream.
Then that means we should stand up against advocates for DEI. DEI evaluates someone's worth on the basis of their appearance, first and foremost. I don't know what else to tell you. You don't want to believe it, but that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Now, your organization, your strategy has led Georgia to have 2 Democrat senators.
2 Democrat senators?
The polls are now showing that.
Wait. Yeah, how successful was her organization in making her governor? 2 Democrat senators? Okay.
That Trump is leading in Georgia and could potentially win.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do to help stop that?
Stop Trump. Who's going to stop Trump? Okay, yeah. Stacey Abrams, twice failed gubernatorial candidate. What are you going to do to stop Trump?
I've been very proud to be a part of a network of organizations across the state for the last decade plus.
Yeah, you've been a networker. Never governor, but networker.
It's been building political power amongst people who too often feel that they're not included in the conversation. That's made our state competitive. And when you're a competitive state, that means that at any given moment, someone on the other side might be up, someone on your side might be down.
Yes. Okay. But what are you going to do to stop Trump?
But our job is to always remember that it's about what the people need and making certain they connect that desire to the right to vote and that they have access to the right to vote. So the work that we're doing is to continue to protect access to voting, to continue to lift up the success of Joe Biden.
The success of Joe Biden. This is obviously recorded before the debate.
What President Biden has delivered to the state and to the people of this country.
What has Biden delivered to the state of Georgia specifically? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there may be something. I'll avoid using the word again. I don't want to give Alex too much screen time. But, you know, maybe he's done something worthwhile. I don't know what. I'd be happy to know, though.
Is very manifest here in Georgia, and to make certain that people believe that November is a call to action, but also a call to the progress that we need to continue across our state.
And you think DEI is part of progress? Okay, well, that's a big problem right there.
Do you think the Biden campaign has done enough to help voter turnout here in Georgia?
Well, even if they have, Biden's performance last night lost him uncounted voters in Georgia and the rest of the 50 states.
The Biden campaign is growing and building. We have to remember we haven't even nominated our presidential candidates yet.
It's true. You haven't. There's still time to change. Oh, Stacey. Stacey, tell me you're going to go for it. Tell me you're going to try to twist some elbows in the back rooms to become the presidential candidate.
And so I'm very pleased with the progress we're seeing, with the attention that we're seeing here in Georgia.
Yeah, but not saying anything about Biden or Kamala Harris even yet. Thank you again, Plague Trucker Zach. Am I missing something? Why is this woman still a thing? Sentimentality. That's basically it. A female of color in a position of notoriety or political networking, I guess. I mean, there's not many other twice failed gubernatorial candidates that I can think of that get any kind of attention still, except maybe on the speaker's circuit. But I mean, as far as Georgia politics is concerned, I could believe that she has embedded herself in the networks of Georgia politics at this stage of the game through fundraising and other things. Sure. She's a political player in Georgia. Why else should she be given any attention? I don't know. Like I say, sentimentality, duty to the demographic. I don't know.
President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris have both been here several times.
Yeah, and what have they done there?
And because of their visits, we know that Georgia is on their mind.
Well, given the way that the election went the last time Trump was in it, for Clinton and how it could go now, given his numbers, every state is on their mind. They're probably not taking anything for granted, save for maybe California, Oregon, and Washington. That's about it. I think every other state is up for grabs effectively at this point, or they should assume it is, given what happened during the 2016 election.
We have seen this Biden-Trump face-off back in 2020.
Yes.
What do you think you're going to tell voters who maybe feel fatigue when looking at this upcoming election and seeing this happen again?
Yeah. Could you answer a question where you actually tell us what it is you're going to do in order to bolster the Democratic Party, at least in Georgia?
We know that the candidates who are standing for the respective parties are avatars.
They're avatars? Oh my gosh, are they firebenders? Okay, would Trump be a firebender, an earthbender, a waterbender, or an airbender? I think Trump would be an airbender, because he's full of hot air and he's got to keep his hair poofied up, I think. And Biden would be oh man, well, given his footing, I guess he couldn't really be. Maybe an earthbender? I don't know. I mean, maybe a waterbender for the amount of drool he has to catch I don't know.
They're leaders, but they're avatars. They reflect the values that we hold.
I mean, In the abstract, maybe.
In President Biden, we have someone who believes in all people.
Believes in all people. I mean, I believe in all people. I believe they exist. I can see them sometimes when I leave my hermit-like apartment.
Someone who's been willing to invest in the future of this country.
Oh, is that what he's done? Is that what inflation is right now? Is that why the bill for groceries from 2 years ago has practically doubled, if not tripled? Is that the investment in the future you're talking about?
Someone who's been willing to defend the rights and the responsibilities that women in particular need.
Oh, women in particular? Oh, like what about the rest of us? And speaking of rights, what about pressuring social media companies to delist or ban or, whatever, people who are saying the wrong things? You talk about rights? Okay.
And his opponent, we see someone who during his term in office championed xenophobia.
Championed xenophobia. Champion xenophobia by trying. Not necessarily succeeding, but trying to normalize relations or have some kind of dialogue with North Korea. Of all the xenophobes out there. Okay, and what about xenophobia? I'm assuming she's referring to the border, the wall in particular, and the laws preventing people from coming across the border or trying as best as possible to. Okay, well, what does Stacey have to say about the fact that Biden attempted unsuccessfully to continue those same Trump policies for several months, if not a year or two into his term, and then just recently had to try to go back to executive orders to try to recreate what Trump had already done previously that Biden had vilified? What does Stacey have to say about that? Also, Jenna P. Good evening, Jenna P. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing good. And Plague Trucker Zach, again, thank you so much. Racial jungle comes to mind. I'm not quite sure what comes to mind here because she's saying things that don't make any sense and she's pretending that reality isn't reality. So I'm not sure we're operating with a good faith actor here, as it were.
Misogyny and hatred and promises to restore the same to the White House. And so we have to remember that no matter how tired we are, this is not just about what has been past. It's about what our future looks like.
Our future looks like. So we had a managed border, not perfect, but better than under Biden. We didn't start any new wars under Trump. The economy was going gangbusters. And people weren't having to choose between paying their rent or buying food at the grocery store. I don't know. It seemed like I didn't vote for the guy, but I got to tell you what, if everybody's going to blame everything on Trump and then credit everything to Biden elsewise, I got to say, under Trump, things were pretty good. I'll tell you what, my meager investments, the numbers were decidedly higher under Trump, and they have lost ridiculous value during Biden's term. I mean, I thought I was on a pretty good trajectory. And this is even during the pandemic, the opening times of the pandemic. It wasn't until Biden started taking office and the months after that things started going straight down into the pit. I thought I was on a pretty good trajectory for the future. Now I guess I'm playing catch up again for another 10, 15 years or something. I don't know.
And I look forward to championing not only President Biden, but also what he promises for another administration, 4 more years of progress, 4 more years of moving our nation forward.
Is that where we're at? You see what's happening now is moving our nation forward. Thank you again, Plague Trucker Zach. Boy, I don't know how to tell you how appreciative I am of your generosity tonight. Alternate reality actually tracks. It's almost Soviet. This is scary stuff. Yeah, she is denying. I mean, you put aside the DEI stuff for a second to say that you want 4 more years of what Biden has brought us. Reckless foreign spending, an absolute disaster at the border, and inflation that is snuffing out the hopes and dreams of countless Americans. This is the future that Stacey Abrams wants. She wants 4 more years of that. I mean, if you say so, I guess.
Before I let you go, you have
Uh-huh.
said in the past that you are going to be president by 2040.
Oh, really? Really? Okay. Well, let's see her make it to governor first. Let's see if she can actually crack the gubernatorial ceiling first before she aims for president. Just saying,
Does that mean we're going to see another run for governor, or what's the next step in your political career?
I am honestly curious to hear the answer to this one.
I believe in having strong ambitions, and
I do too. Keep aim for the moon and hope you hit the mountains, right? Okay. Well, you've done the moon shot twice now, and you crashed and burned both times. So maybe third time's the charm.
and thinking about what's next. And when I responded to that question, it was a question of, do I believe that it's possible?
Sure, it's possible. There is a greater than 0% chance that you will be president by 2040. It's true. There is a greater than 0% chance. There's also a greater than 0% chance the sun won't come up tomorrow. But in all likelihood,
I believe everything is within our grasp
everything? Oh, okay. Well, how about governor of Georgia?
if we can work with it, work for it, and if we can build the systems that make it possible.
Okay. Well, I'm going to extend the benefit of the doubt that you did work for it as far as governor twice, and that in between attempts you did build a network and a foundation to do so. How'd that work out for you the second time around?
I don't know what I'm going to run for next. Politics is one part of my person. It's one part of what I do.
Is it? It seems that anytime I ever hear about you, it relates to politics.
It's one tool in my toolbox, but right now I'm focused on making certain that we have the strongest presidency, that we have leaders at the state and local level.
So politics, it's not just, it's your only tool. Your toolbox is not a box of tools. You have one thing. It's the hammer called politics. You just, okay. Anyway.
Who are protecting our rights, that we are defending diversity, equity, and inclusion, because that's the pathway to education, to the economy, and to elections. To make
DEI is the pathway to elections, education, and the economy. DEI is. Really? Well, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
To education, to the economy, and to elections, to making certain that those who hold power on our behalf actually have to listen to us.
Oh, would you listen to people criticizing you in a productive and constructive way if you were in a position of power?
And so my mission is to do what I can to guarantee equity, access, and inclusion across this country.
Stacey, thank you so much for
Without actually telling us how you would do that or whatever, but okay.
joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, there you go. There's Stacey Abrams at the Forbes BLK Leaders Summit, telling us practically nothing, but saying a lot of things. So is she not in politics all the time? I think she is. I think she is. Now, I could stop there. I guess I could stop there. I could say, an hour and 13 minutes of a stream, that's enough. That's enough. But would it really be worth it? Would it really be worth it if I didn't, do something else? Something a little extra? Something just a little extra? I don't know. What should I do? What do you think I should do? What do you think is incumbent upon me on some random stream where I'm trying to have some catharsis? Could it be, I don't know, a TedX? Could it be a TedX? I mean, it could be. Might be. A special one that I've been saving for at least a week or two for a special reason. The special reason is I don't even know what the title of this thing is, but I have to watch it. Do you know why? You'll find out why momentarily. But before then, what bingo card shall I use? First person in the chat to give me a letter, A, B, or C, will choose the bingo card. Go. C, says Asan. Asan is the first one. Congratulations, Asan. You just picked bingo card C. Bingo card C, everybody. Links should be in the description, unless did I delete the links? Did I not think I was going to do a TEDx with this? I didn't, did I? Uh-oh. Well, let me go get the link to the bingo card. Hold on a second. My bad. I wasn't sure I was going to do a TEDx when I first set this up. So let me go get the, see, now I have to go through the awkward process of going to my own channel, going back to a previous TEDx stream, opening up that thing, getting the link to the C card. And what I will do is I'll put it in the chat. So there is the link to the C card. Get your C cards while you can. I will also add it to the description of this video just for reference's sake, even though anybody watching into the future, you can just follow along. But bingo card C in the chat for posterity's sake. What? Oh, apparently I can't change the description right now while I'm streaming. I guess that makes some kind of sense. Okay, well, anyway, I'll attempt to add it later. So get your bingo card C's ready, and I better get mine ready as well. I actually have to have mine ready to mark up, and that takes a second. In the meantime, if anybody has any other questions for me, any other Ask Me Anything questions, just start putting them out there and put plenty of question marks afterwards in your comments so I know it's for me while I get my bingo card C ready. Let's see, bingo card C, open with the excellent program called Paint, because Paint. Let's see, we want it to be a green, a nice green. I need to save it off as a different name so I don't overwrite the original. We're going to call this Bingo Card Mystery, because I don't even know the title of this thing. It's a mystery to me. Why is it a mystery? Because, well, you'll see momentarily why I picked this one and why I didn't really care what it was about. I just had to see it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Bingo card mystery. Where did you go? Oh, you probably saved over here, didn't you? Yes, you did. Of course you did. Default save to the desktop. That's the problem. Okay. All right. I am now prepared with my bingo card. Do you have your bingo cards ready? Get your bingo cards ready. Any questions in the chat? Assassin the Gray. Scribelite. Hey, you better respect the president of the Earth. Man, you tripping. Oh, yeah, that's right. She was president of the Earth in Star Trek Discovery. That's true. Guy in his room, are you a crypto investor, Scribe? I am decidedly not. I don't own a single crypto nothing. I got a couple of books on cryptids, if you're interested in cryptids, but nothing about crypto. Hero Soldier, Scarlet, are you going to make a pepper jack and his dog cat fox at the ready for this? Pepper jacks were earlier today, actually. I was having a post-lunch drink to ease my nerves after a stressful day of billing and other things. Timothy Seelbeck, good night, Timothy. Sleep well. Hope you get good rest. The rest of this will be here tomorrow for you if you choose to partake. All right, and one more here before we begin. Simon Willikins. Will you listen to that 50-song playlist while you're not streaming, or do you think it'll be better for a live audio reaction? What 50-song play? Okay, maybe I missed something. Was I supposed to listen to a 50-song playlist? And I can't really, unless it's like copyright free, I can't listen to it on the air, or else I get stuck. I don't know. Maybe my sleepy brain is missing something. I know you said something about playlists in your message earlier about staying on and listening to that. I don't know. I need some more information, Simon. Tweet me if I don't get back to it. All right. So what is the big deal about this TEDx? I don't know. Let's find out together, because honestly, it's a mystery to me. But why would I want to watch it? Let's see. Oh my gosh, the dramatic music. Let me skip ahead a little bit. All right. Oh yeah, well, I just gave it away a little.
I would like to tell you about a remarkable phenomenon.
I would love to hear about a remarkable phenomenon, specifically those glasses.
Hypnosis.
Oh, goody.
But first, let's be sure that everyone is awake.
Oh boy, I'll tell you what, if I wasn't before, your cyberpunk weird V'ger headgear is giving me all sorts of tinglies.
Let's do a little test.
Okay.
Show all your index fingers.
Okay, I am showing my index finger.
Yeah. Make a pistol.
Okay.
Make a circle.
Wait, wait, I can't do that. Not even when I'm not on camera can I do that. For that, my friend, is a symbol of white power.
Put it again in your chin. No, your chin is here. Not everyone is awake yet. When I was a little guy.
Wait, what was the point of that? What was the point of that? And Keeverdam just, oh my God, flooded with white supremacy. No! Oh boy. Okay. When you were a little kid.
My dream was to become a pilot.
Oh, well, are you flying in a starship right now?
Even an astronaut.
Oh, yeah.
And with that in mind,
Yeah.
I obtained 2 engineering degrees.
To become a... Wait, you got engineering degrees to become a pilot?
But I also had a passion for hypnosis.
I mean, the guy's eclectic. I'll give him that. So, all right. Engineering and hypnosis.
And it's that passion that ultimately prevailed.
Okay, well, childhood or family anecdote, circling that one on the board. Let me find it here. There it is. Childhood or family anecdote and circling free space because it's free. Let's remind ourselves what we're listening for in this most decidedly odd TEDx. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Word salad. I think we'll get there. Mind reading or assumes motives. I mean, it might be part and parcel, but we'll wait a minute. A list. Marginalized, marginalization, patriarchy, contradicts own point or argument, feminism, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, systemic or institutional, anecdote that probably never happened, white supremacy. Well, I'm circling white supremacy because of the OK symbol. That's just basic right there. It leaves out vital context, argumentative non sequitur, sales pitch for product or service. I mean, if he's not pitching those glasses, I don't know what is. But anyway, I'll move on. Privilege, collectivize his own demographic, self-vilification or wretchedness, economic disparity, benevolent condescension, plays victim, weightless example, and microaggressions or unconscious bias. So far on the board, with only 1:06 in, we have white supremacy, free space, and childhood or family anecdote. Thank you again, Plague Trucker Zach. Bill Maher might have done a TED Talk. I don't know. Yeah, I saw that earlier. It's probably the one TED Talk I can't get away with rebroadcasting without Bill Maher coming after me. But yeah, I did see that he was in front of a TED logo. I don't know if it was a joke for his show or if he really did a TED Talk. But I will see. I've done celebrity TED Talks before, so it's not impossible. But I will look into it. Thank you, Plague Trucker. All right. Anyway, what you were saying?
I became a hypnotist.
Rather than an engineer. All right. How's that working out for you?
For several years now, I've had my own museum dedicated to hypnosis.
Okay.
With thousands of books and other related items.
Other related items like the shrunken heads. No, it's like, okay.
And I consider it as my mission to make people understand that hypnosis exists.
People know that hypnosis exists.
And how it works.
Okay, how does it work? Hypnotize me.
That is just a psychological and natural phenomenon.
Uh-huh.
Because if we understand its mechanism from cognitive standpoint...
Ooh, cognition. That's a big topic lately because of the debate last night.
Then we can help ourselves mentally.
Okay. Could you help yourself by never wearing those glasses again? I mean, they are distinctive. I'll give you that. They draw a lot of attention. but they are certainly bizarre looking. And I don't know how practical they are for just like normal wear. I want to know how they're secured. I really want to know what the secure is at the back of his head.
We can steer ourselves towards our goals.
We can steer ourselves. I love steering myself towards my goals.
And we
Okay.
can help each other through communication.
Okay, how?
Where does my interest in hypnosis come from?
Trying to get girls?
As a child, I sometimes performed magic tricks in front of my grandparents.
Your grandparents. Okay.
And that's when I learned that not only my great-grandfather did perform magic, but he also could hypnotize.
Oh. And look at the look on his face there when he, boy, oh boy. I went into this knowing it was going to be ridiculous somehow. I don't know how.
He made people walk barefoot into the snow.
Oh my God.
He made them laugh on command, etc.
Oh my gosh.
But
did he make them cluck like chickens?
Apparently, my father was also intrigued by it.
I can imagine so. If his, wait, this is your grandfather was a hypnotist and then your father was, okay.
Because around my 13, 14 years, I found a book on hypnosis that was laying around in the attic.
Okay.
And despite reading that book several times, I didn't understand it.
You know, I think the inanity of his speech is hypnotizing me right now.
Then
the long pauses don't help either. Pardon me. I did slip there.
Then I started scoring secondhand bookstores in search for answers. But also those books didn't enlighten me.
Wow, you're just so far beyond them, I guess. Or you can't read.
Either. Until the day that I had the chance to take a course with a real hypnotist.
Oh, did he tell you to understand hypnotism? And did you believe him? Did he implant a thought in your head? Or those glasses?
And he said one sentence that made everything clear.
Oh my God. One sentence? So wait, you're about to impart onto us a magical sentence that trumped everything you'd ever read or studied about hypnotism prior to that point? Oh man, you're saving me an entire $10 on a used bookstore. Tell me.
The hypnotic state is activated by the person himself.
Wow. Wow.
And with that insight, I reread all my books.
And suddenly they made sense.
And everything became clear to me.
Did it? Did it become clear to you? Oh, yeah. It became so clear to me. I read the book, and all of a sudden, the words, they spoke to me as in ways that they never had before. I had this insight, this key to the gate of knowledge. I was given this magical sentence. It unlocked the door. And now I understood hypnotism.
But maybe still not for you.
Not for me.
By lifting hand,
yes.
Who believes that hypnotherapy exists and works?
I believe it exists. Works is a roll of the dice. Look, okay, so a few people raised their hands, some people hesitantly.
Okay. Who believes that stage hypnosis is real and that you can make people act like a chicken?
I think that's real. I think people want to act like a chicken. I think people like the idea of participating.
Who has ever seen a hypnosis demonstration or show live?
I have. I actually did. I was at like one of those fairs or something. Yeah, they had a guy up there who had a whole bunch of people, and of course, at that point, I believe I was like 16 or 17 or something. And I'd actually studied basic magic when I was a kid because I too was fascinated with magic and did a bunch of tricks and things and studied some stuff. I got a magic kit, a magic set when I was like 9 or 10 or something. And it was a special kit from a magician named Steve Dacre. I remember Steve Dacre. He had a mustache and a perm. Boy, oh boy, those were the days. I had the Steve Dacre Magician's Kit. And it came with a videotape that showed you how to do a bunch of tricks and things. It was footage of him at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles performing magic in one of the showrooms or whatever. And there were a whole bunch of other little kits there and little gadgets and things. I had a magic wand with a flower in the. It was all types of stuff. Yeah, the Steve Dacre Magic Kit. Boy, oh boy, those were the days.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Why don't many people believe that those shows are real?
Because they're mostly fake and plants and things.
Are they so unlikely? Do they look too magical and magic doesn't exist?
Yes.
Or is it because of the media, where things are often presented in a spectacular way?
You mean like your glasses?
Or is it because we just don't understand it? It's too abstract, too complex.
The power of suggestion is not that abstract and it's not that complex.
Even specialists who already use hypnosis, like hypnotherapists and some other medical trained people, have difficulty to explain those shows to clients.
Oh my God. I really think that his hypnotism is just boredom.
Even neuroscientists doubt the existence.
Yeah. Are you going to name off every profession where someone might doubt the existence? Even mailmen doubt the existence. Florists. Can you believe florists doubt the existence?
They dismiss them as fake or exaggerated.
Uh-huh.
And they even claim that they harm the image of hypnosis.
They might do. If you're making someone act like a chicken, whereas somebody else is trying to deal with some deep-seated trauma or something, and you call both of these actions hypnosis, it might delegitimize the practice a little bit.
Yet it's thanks to those fascinating demonstrations that the phenomenon has always survived.
Phenomenon.
Nevertheless, after more than 150 years, there's still much debate and disbelief, even among scientists.
Yeah, that's kind of what the scientific process does. It doesn't take anything for granted. Things are always being tested, retested, and examined. But okay.
And why?
Because it is a soft science at the very best.
But when we sit in front of the TV, we are always intrigued by it.
Yeah. Is that hypnosis?
As a child, who hasn't played a hypnotist and tried to hypnotize someone?
I actually never have done that.
And I can tell you, hypnosis is real.
Okay, all right. You spent 5 minutes telling us you're intrigued by hypnosis. Hypnosis is real. Do you know that people think that hypnosis isn't real? I got to tell you, hypnosis is real. Fine. Your point being what?
And you can make people cluck and walk like a chicken.
Is that a legitimate use? Is that how you would use hypnosis?
And I noticed that people who have seen it live tend to review their opinion on the topic.
Now, I tend to think that people are either very susceptible to the power of suggestion. There are either plants in those they select to be in the from the audience to be in their little group to begin with, or people are just playing along because they want to believe in it. But yes, someone can't be hypnotized that doesn't want to be hypnotized. If you're actively resistant to it, it's probably not going to happen.
They're even willing to consider hypnotherapy, for example. And that's why my mission is to make people understand hypnosis.
Because you want people to participate in hypnotherapy?
Via demonstrations, workshops, and lectures.
Okay.
To show that it works, how it works, and what its potential is.
Okay. Are you going to do a live stage demonstration? Are you going to make someone cluck like a chicken?
And how do I approach this?
I don't
How
know.
do I ensure that people accept that hypnosis exists?
If you tell me that you were hypnotized to wear those glasses, I might believe you.
To begin with, I take them through some familiar examples.
Okay.
Imagine you're watching TV, there's a horror movie,
I'm not far off right now, yeah?
and after a while, you start hiding yourself behind a pillow.
I occasionally hide myself behind my mic as I bow my head in my hand and just kind of like go, oh, why do I do this to myself?
Why?
Why? Because fear is a natural instinct?
It's not happening in your living room, but
No, but if a movie can immerse me in the tension of the scene and stuff, but okay, yeah.
it's not happening in your living room, but on the screen in front of you.
Uh-huh.
Maybe the scene becomes sad and you start crying tears.
Yes. Oftentimes, even in the cheesiest of instances in movies and TV shows, acts of sacrifice of one form or another tend to make me get emotional and or weepy. I don't know what it is. End of the Iron Giant. That's all I'll say. Never fails. Every time I watch that movie or I just watch that ending completely on its own out of context, always gets me.
However, it's just a movie played by actors, actresses pretending.
Yeah. And it might speak to something base and barbarous in my mind. It might trigger a memory of my own or make me empathize with the characters or the situation, or the tension may be expertly crafted on the screen. I'm not being hypnotized. I am empathizing.
Another example.
That wasn't even an example.
We all know those virtual reality glasses by now.
Ritual. Oh, sorry. I thought he said ritual. He said virtual reality glasses. Are you wearing virtual reality glasses right now? Am I? Thank you, Plague Trucker Zach. Certain music does it for me. Yeah, if I hear a song that is related to a memory, good or bad or otherwise, yeah. There's certain songs that completely out of context are attached to events in my life that the song doesn't even have anything to do with. It's not like it's describing the event or something. It's just that something happened, and then either at that moment or near on to a particular song came into the mix, and it just now is attached to my brain as being associated with that event. And sometimes the disparity between the song, its contents, and its mood, and the event it's attached to can be very, very great. And that's just the weird thing about memory sometimes. Sometimes smells do it, songs do it, particular sights or images. That's just how memory works. I'm still waiting for an example of actual hypnosis.
We put them on and suddenly we are in New York.
Yeah, well, not in Zuckerberg's metaverse.
On the edge of a skyscraper, afraid to take another step, thinking we might fall off.
Yeah, it's a simulation, and our brain reacts to the stimulus, even if our conscious mind, our rational mind, knows that we're not standing on the edge of a building, that we are not currently in a horror movie, that we're not currently experiencing some emotional heartbreak of our own. Yes, our minds, our imagination, our memories, our associations. What does that have to do with hypnosis?
But rationally, we are here hustled with our 2 feet firmly on the ground.
Yes, we know.
So when we are presented with images through media, our brain will react as if they were real. And hypnosis works in exactly the same way.
Hypnosis works in exactly the same way? Okay, by all means.
Except we are not presented with images through an external platform, but via a kind of internal image generator.
You mean imagination?
And that generator can be triggered by a hypnotist with his words and body language.
You mean an external source of information? Uh-huh.
Some easy to understand examples.
I would love some easy to understand examples.
Suppose you're lying in bed.
Suppose I am.
You can't sleep
Well, that can be the case with me, yeah.
because you're thinking of work or school.
Yeah.
You start feeling stress.
Uh-huh.
It keeps you awake.
Yes, it does on a regular basis. You're speaking my language.
However, you're not in that situation.
You're right. I am not currently in that situation, but I might soon be. Okay.
But your thoughts take you there
Yes.
and you start experiencing that same stress.
Maybe more so acute for somebody with anxiety disorder, but I don't know anything about that.
Maybe you're thinking of someone attractive,
Oh, if I'm in bed, probably.
even though it's just an image in your mind, your
Mhm.
body reacts to it.
Yes. Oh, and boy, howdy does it.
And the more vividly we imagine it, the more real it seems.
Uh-huh.
So we can present an image so convincingly to our brain that it will react as if it saw the image for real.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. I am getting hypnotized. I love the fact, I think this might be one of the first times I've seen the countdown clock for a TEDx in front of the speaker. You don't usually see the countdown clock, if there is one at all for these presentations.
Virtual reality headset, but then unplugged, without technology, without wires.
Yes, it's called imagination.
And if we understand this, then we also can understand that people can feel bad.
People can feel bad. Okay, you know what? Benevolent condescension, circling that one. Word salad, circling that one. Good gravy. And even if it hasn't been a formal like 1, 2, 3, 4, he's gone through several different kinds of lists so far in trying to explain himself. Surprisingly, nothing I can call mind reading assumes motives yet that I can tell. So far on the card, remember this is bingo card C, word salad, a list, white supremacy, free space, child or family anecdote, and benevolent condescension.
For instance, when they are harassed and they repeat negative images to their own brain, like a commercial.
Who?
But that successful people pull themselves forward.
I know plenty of successful people that have negative things going on in their brains all the time and make them cautious or, okay, whatever.
Because they present positive images like their goals and successes in front of their brain.
Right, the power of positive thinking. The secret.
And create drive.
Yes.
Interesting, isn't it?
Not really.
Do you want to live a little experience?
Do I want to live a little experience? You know, this guy couldn't be more, European with his broken English than if he tried, and he's not really trying. Okay, do I want to live a little experience? Sure, I'll live a little experience.
Just to show the principle?
You mean an experiment, not experience? Okay, never mind.
Don't worry. Nobody's gonna sleep. Nobody will be made fun of. Just to show how it works.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Go ahead. I'm about 3 steps away from being hypnotized into deep sleep the way you're going, so you might have an easy trip for it.
People at home can participate as well when
Oh, thank goodness, I am at home.
they see the film afterwards.
Okay.
Just
right,
keep an open mind.
All right.
Be curious.
Uh-huh.
And focus on what I'm going to say.
Well, I'll tell you what, all of those 3 things are exactly the tools I have when I watch these TEDx's. My mind is open, I am curious, and I very much listen to what is being said. So go ahead. Hypnotize me.
Can I all ask you now to stand up, please?
I will pretend. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of people like, okay, the audience is standing up. For those of you listening at home, it's like a bunch of people looking around. Do I have to?
It's already working. Okay, put your hand like this.
put my hand like this. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And let your fingers and your hand hang loose. Yes, your
Uh-huh.
right hand. And look now at your index finger. How
My
it is
index
relaxed,
finger.
hanging there, and you observe
Uh-huh.
your index finger.
Uh-huh. I'm observing my index finger. Uh-huh.
And now you look back at me. Look at me.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And now look back at your index finger.
I'm looking back at my index finger.
And observe that finger. Now look back
Uh-huh.
at me.
Look back at you.
And now again to your finger.
And now back to my finger.
And now I will count from 1 to 3.
Uh-huh.
And then you will notice that your finger wants to move. Maybe it will make little jumps.
Okay, go for it.
I will count from 1 to 3 and observe how your finger has the intention to move.
Go for it.
Or maybe jump.
Or maybe jump.
1, 2, 3. And observe.
I observed nothing. My finger stood still.
Maybe it takes a while, but it
Everybody in the audience are just like,
will jump or move.
oh my God, this guy. Do not hire him for your kid's birthday party.
Who has experienced something? Put your left arm in the air.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All the rest can sit down. Yes. And the other keep their hand in the air. Okay. And
Okay. So these people might be susceptible to powers of suggestion. All right.
keep looking at your right index finger. Keep looking at your right index finger. Now look back at me.
Look at me.
And look back at your index finger.
Uh-huh.
Because now I will count from 1 to 3, and then your right hand has the intention to turn towards your face.
I'll give it this. This is one of the more unique TEDx's I've watched before that has a very significant audience participation component to it.
The fingertips wants to turn towards your face.
Oh
I
my
will count
God.
from 1 to 3.
Uh-huh.
Observe your right hand, and it will start to turn.
Oh, it will. Oh, let's see. Does anybody's hand in the audience turn?
1, 2, 3. And observe now how your right hand slowly but surely wants to turn towards your face.
Uh-huh. And those of you that didn't, sit down.
Strange enough, you can notice it.
Except for those people that didn't.
And it turns and it turns and it turns.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a TEDx, turn, turn, turn.
And if you notice this, put your left arm in the air.
Oh my God, you got some really weak-willed people in the audience.
Okay. All the rest can sit down.
The look on this one lady's face. What is going on there?
Okay. Now observe your right hand.
Uh-huh.
And now I will count from 1 to 3.
And then you will punch yourself in the groin.
And strange enough,
You will want to poke yourself in the eyeball.
you will not be able to lower it. So I will count from 1 to 3.
Oh my gosh.
You will try to lower it, but it's
You
not
can't.
possible. Like it if it's attached to the ceiling with a little rope.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3. And try to lower it. If it's difficult, put your left arm in the air. Yes.
Yes, I'm weeding out my next victims.
Okay. Now I will count from 1 to 3, and then you can move your arm again, and you can sit down and get a round of applause with
Oh, good. Get a round of applause. But I can't move my hand. My hand won't let me applause.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Wow. So about 99% of the audience was like, this is BS.
Did you like it?
No.
And nothing supernatural has happened. It was just a psychological empathy game.
Yes. Yes. but you were talking about hypnotherapy. Why don't you talk about hypnotherapy and not parlor tricks?
Did anyone fall asleep?
I'm getting close, dude.
I don't think so.
Well, just by a smidge.
And you see, you can also activate that focus state even without inducing sleep or relaxation.
Uh-huh.
But it only would work better when we are more focused and more relaxed.
Jawohl.
And why do some people succeed while others don't?
Because some people are weak-willed or easily susceptible to suggestion.
Even though they follow the instructions literally. That it's because there are a lot of other factors at work to activate that unconscious response.
Or that conscious response of, I want to be the special one. So I'll stand up and do what the guy says in order to be special.
I call it a hypnosis cocktail of conditions.
Okay, well, not the most artful buzzword or buzz phrase I've ever heard, but something I like to call certainly qualifies. So circling, attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Because why not?
The mindset, the motivation, the capability to concentrate, the background of the person.
Yes, all of these things add up to someone wanting to be the special one in the audience. Yeah,
Counts. But also the personality, the appearance, the experience of the hypnotist plays a role.
Yeah, okay. I guess maybe it does.
The relationship between both, the context where it is happening in front of an audience or on an individual base.
Boy, oh boy, this is just like common sense 99. It's not even 101. It's just even more simple than that.
The speed of the exercise, etc., etc.
Okay.
And I call them hypnosis rituals.
Okay, seriously, with that headset, is this just a soft sell into indoctrination into a cult? Please tell me this is a soft sell indoctrination into a cult. Thank you again, Plague Trucker Zach. And how are these people sitting there just listening to this balderdash and accepting it? How is nobody challenging this retardatory? Well, because they're being polite. And they may be European. And they may have paid for this. And maybe it's a talk that's in between talks that they want to listen to. I don't know. I mean, I think everybody on a TEDx stage deserves a shot. You know, a fair hearing. So long as I have the opportunity to snipe at them after the fact. Boy, I am falling asleep. This has only got 2 minutes left, so let's see if we can get through it.
Rather than hypnosis techniques.
No, sorry, I got to back up a little bit. I did cut them off. I want to be polite as well.
And I call them hypnosis rituals rather than hypnosis techniques.
Because it sounds more creepy.
When we talk about the process of hypnotizing. Because if it was about technique, it would work for everyone all the time.
Not necessarily. Technique does not mean guarantee. So ritual and technique. What?
And it's that same mechanism of hypnosis rituals that explain a lot of other phenomena, like mama's kiss.
Like mama's kiss.
Placebo.
I mean, I guess placebo, depending on the circumstances, could be a kind of self-hypnosis.
Those healers, magnetists.
Yeah.
But
like Jim Jones. By the way, I did a brief little playlist of listening to some of the recordings of the People's Temple. You can find that playlist on my YouTube channel. But anyway.
Magnetists. But also exorcism and voodoo.
Yeah. Ooh, exorcism and voodoo. Oh boy, oh boy. And watch The Exorcist and Serpent in the Rainbow at the same time.
And a lot of other so-called paranormal phenomena.
Phenomena. Do 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 do. Phenomena. Do 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 do.
And I prefer to call them idiodynamic
Idiodynamic. Okay.
phenomena.
Sorry. Let's listen to that one more time. What was it again?
Phenomena.
Do 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 do. Hold on, I'll do it.
Dynamic phenomena.
Do 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 do.
Dynamic phenomena.
Do 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 do.
So, if we understand that hypnosis can have effect, that it is nothing different from a kind of virtual reality headset.
Okay, if we understand these things to be true, then we are to conclude what?
Then without hardware, without cables.
Yeah.
That by using our internal image generator, we can control our thoughts, our behavior, our...
It's called imagination, our internal image generator. Come on.
Our feelings.
Yeah.
Then we also can realize that self-hypnosis offers possibility to make ourselves feel better.
Okay, but you haven't spent any time talking about demonstrating or describing actual therapeutic hypnosis. You've done parlor tricks. You don't have enough time to do it now, but you had 16 minutes. You know, I have had far more educational TEDx talks take far less time than this, and I'm just about 16 minutes through this thing, and you didn't even talk about your main subject at all in any meaningful way.
And if we don't succeed in finding the right images ourselves, fortunately, there are therapists, psychologists, but also friends and family who can assist us in finding the right images.
What are you talking about?
With their words and imagery tools.
Oh my God.
And if we think profoundly,
I'm thinking profoundly that this is all a waste of time.
About what we have learned today.
Yeah, you know, if I thought profoundly about what we'd learned today, I'd be trying to divide by 0.
Then we will probably find numbers of examples.
Yeah, of
where we can apply this knowledge.
Could you give me a couple of ideas?
And if we succeed in applying it, then we will grow in life.
Oh, we will grow in life just automatically? Okay, so if I hypnotize myself into thinking I'm standing on the edge of a building, I will grow in life?
I wish you a lot of empathetic fun.
Oh my God. All right, well, and he had 1 minute and 43 seconds left on his time. All right, well, I came for the glasses. I stayed for the hypnosis, but I didn't get any of that, so I guess it was kind of a waste of time. But I just needed to know. I needed to know what those glasses portended, or what do those glasses portend of the speaker, of the subject matter. I didn't know, and now I know. And knowing is a constant source of disappointment. I'll open the floor to one more round of Ask Me Anything questions before I conk out for the night, because I'm tired. It's been a long week. It was a very long day. This has been, the thing is though, this entire process, and in fact, just sort of like doing streams like this, does have a calming effect on me. It is very cathartic. I get out a lot of energy. I have some laughs. I have some bewilderment. All of these things to me are beneficial. Maybe I learned something. Maybe I get to make a connection to something else, make a joke, sing a song. You know, I'm just one big vaudeville act here. That's me. Chicago Mike, I fell asleep. What did I miss? You are feeling very sleepy. You wish to go to sleep and dream of islands with cucumber trees. Sure, why not? Simon Wilkins, are you aware of the 12-step rule? Is that if you can make it up 12 steps, you need to drink more? Is that what it is? Kiever Lamb, Scrablight, do you know that you're awesome? No. I honestly don't. If I knew I was awesome, then I'd have absolutely no motivation to improve myself. Ah, see? Always need a little bit of self-doubt to keep yourself wanting more, right? There you go. Asan, would you rock those sunglasses and hairdo? I tell you what, those glasses, I really want to know about those glasses. I don't know that I'd wear them. I don't think it'd make any sense because, like, I have a full head of hair. So most of that would be hidden under my hair and it'd just be looking like I had like glasses taped on my forehead. It'd look weird. It quote unquote makes sense more so with a guy who's bald. It's still bizarre. And I would not want to risk wearing those things if I was doing some really energetic movement like jogging or lifting things or moving around too much because they don't look like they're very stable. But then I don't know how they were attached. Maybe they're like screwed into the back of his head or something. It's possible. Simon Wilkins, are you aware of the 12-step suite? Is that a hotel room where you have to constantly work your way out of alcoholism? I guess the answer is no. Can't stay awake. Night, everyone. Good night, Tandamar. On a quest to the land of Tandamar. Good night. But I think with Tandamar's exit, seems like an appropriate time to make a grand exit. So before I really do fall asleep, and it will be soon, let's see, any programming notes or anything? Well, purportedly, I'll still be doing a Sunday stream on, if you can believe it, Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I'll talk about a thing. Not sure what it'll be yet, but it won't be hypnosis. I promise you that. Unless I'm hypnotizing you into thinking it won't be, and then it is, and then something. Beyond that, what else? Yeah, if you haven't already listened to or watched or whatever, the commentary track that Sinatra, Sassy Shelley and I created last night for the debate, you can go watch that on the Silent Sin channel. The link to the Watch Together thing should still be there. And as far as I understand it, if you click on that while you're listening to the commentary, they should line up. I think. Maybe. That's what I'm told. I guess we'll find out. Let's see, anything beyond that? Yeah, well, every Thursday you can find me here for TED Excellence, where I officially look at TEDx or TED Talks. Oh, yeah, the bingo card. Do I even care about? I don't care about the bingo card. I don't. I honestly don't. We can finish it another time. You can finish it yourself if you like. I'll display it just for reference purposes. I'm so out of it right now, I completely forgot about the bingo card. So let me put that up real quick. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Okay, so there's the bingo card. I will shrink myself just for reference purposes here. There's that, and there's that. That's what I have so far. I don't know that I care about the rest of it. I'm too sleepy. You may finish it at your leisure. Put arguments for squares to be circled in the chat. I guess I'll circle leaves out vital context. Tell you what, I'll circle leaves out vital context. There you go. And you know what? I am going to circle anecdote that probably never happened because honestly, I seriously doubt that anybody in the audience was actually hypnotized by that act. And they were all basically making it up for the sake of drama or the show or whatever else it was. And so,
Bingo.
What? Bingo! Yeah!
Of course, of course.
we'll get at least one bingo out of the deal. Yeah, if you have any other squares to be circled, put your pitches in the comments below. I will entertain them for entertainment in the future. But elsewise, everyone, thank you so much for joining me on this ambush stream on a Friday night. I appreciate you joining me and helping me out with my own catharsis and relaxation, as it certainly did bring me to the point of slumber. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself and Plague Trucker Zach, I'm looking at you. Holy cow, man. Or to any of the GoFundMes and fundraisers at the top of the chat box. Thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very, very much appreciated. And beyond that, everybody, please go to bed if you're not already in bed. Get some sleep. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good weekend ahead of you. I hope you are all safe and well. And if you're not well, please, please get well soon. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.